Hey everyone, welcome back and thanks for showing up. My name is Alexis. I am an owner of a private practice and a therapist, here to offer some free mental health advice and opinions. If you do need more help, please reach out to a therapist in your area. And today I would like to welcome you into session talking about overthinking before bed. How many people do you think overthink before bed? I know that I am absolutely fall victim to this. This is definitely something I do. Um, I could be working all day and be busy, and then at nighttime, I'm exhausted, and I go to lay in bed, and all of a sudden, my brain decides this is a good time to start really thinking about things. So that can really create a emotional response, right? Being like, I might feel like worried for the next day or overwhelmed because I have a lot of patients and I have some errands to run. I personally am a all or nothing type of person in regards to a cognitive distortion in doing things. So what that would mean would be, say tomorrow I have 10 tasks to do. And really, those tasks should be kind of broken up into several different days into smaller, more obtainable tasks. But no, not me. I'm like, okay, all these have to get done today. That elicits an anxious response from me because it's all due in one day. That's an all or nothing type of thinking. So that's what I mean. So I just want to talk a little bit about overthinking when you're like getting ready to go to bed. So the first thing I would point out or try to look at is, what am I thinking? Sometimes our thoughts are so automatic, it's quite frequent, that you don't even realize you're overthinking in bed. You just might have maybe like an anxious response, for example. All of a sudden you're laying there and you're like, my heart is racing, or all of a sudden you're feeling like your palms sweating, or you feel like nauseous or having some sickness in your stomach, and you just play it off. Okay, I've got the Sunday scaries. I'm pretty sure most of us have heard of that. That's a really pretty way to label anxiety, is Sunday scaries, because for some people, Sunday scaries is a dread. It's a dread of work for the next day. So dreading work the next day, I might have a big issue with falling asleep because I'm already thinking about what to anticipate and worry about the next day before it happens. So the first little, I would say number one on my list would be to write down or to just stop when you do feel physiologically anxious, right? So that's that rapid heart rate or maybe sweaty palms. You would stop and say, okay, what am I worried about? So there you are, and it's called cognitive stopping. You're stopping yourself from continuing on to rolling a snowball down a hill, let's just say. Then once you identify some of the negative thoughts, maybe your negative thought is, I don't want to have that meeting with my boss tomorrow. It's intimidating. It usually doesn't go well. Can you reframe that? I don't like my boss. It usually doesn't go well, but there's nothing I can do right now at 2 a.m. about that. So I'm going to put that on the back burner and try to figure that out later. Sometimes our mind almost just needs a place to put things. And some people find that useful to writing it down. Now it's out of my head, it's on paper. I feel like I can accomplish this much better. Sometimes I say, maybe try cognitive stopping. That's what I just explained. So I'm laying there and I'm just like, oh, my stomach's feeling upset, or I feel my heart racing. Wait a minute. I remember that YouTube from that lady who clearly doesn't edit her videos. And she said that if I have these feelings physiologically, to stop and think, what's going on in my mind, in my body, that might be able to bring you back to your negative thought, which is, my negative thought is, I'm anxious about talking to my boss tomorrow. Now you've identified it. Congratulations. That's huge. That's the big first step. The cognitive stopping comes with you bringing that awareness. So you need to bring the awareness first, what's going on. In this case, we're saying, I'm overthinking before bed. Why am I overthinking? What is it causing physiologically? Again, is your heart racing? Is your stomach upset? These are just very kind of common ones that I'm bringing up. Then, how can we improve that? So, how can I improve my habits? Even just working on habits and consistency of habits. Maybe you need to go to bed a little earlier. Maybe you need less screen time. Maybe you do better with taking a 10-minute stretch at your house or wherever you live. Something. And what the hope is there is that you can find something, and I call this like your proverbial toolbox for therapy, that works for you. All because deep breathing works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And so I really encourage you to try your own techniques. Would I try my own techniques based in evidence research? Yes, please do. But not all techniques are for everyone. And I want to make sure that that's very clear, because I sometimes think that we try to fit ourselves into these small, tiny little parameters of what we're supposed to be like and how we're supposed to act and what we're supposed to think. And if it doesn't work, then we're defective in some form or fashion. And that's just not simply the case within the context of what I'm talking about. So, simply said, going over about the overthinking, let's go over this real quick. One, laying in bed, try to figure out, what am I anxious about? Literally think about that. Once you, or what am I worried about? It doesn't have to be anxiety. I'm just trying to use it as an example for practical use. Two, okay, what can I do about it right now? If the answer is like it's 2 a.m. and there's nothing I can do about it right now, then it's 2 a.m. There's nothing you can do about it right now. Sometimes that might help reduce the anxiety and, like I said, the slowing of this like snowball that can be created. The third thing I would say is that cognitive stopping or bringing attention to what's going on emotionally, mentally. What are you actually worried about? As opposed to just blanket statement, I'm just worried. I'm just anxious. I just can't sleep. I'm dreading work. I hope you get the point of that. Then last would be to try to, so the last thing on your docket here, I would say, is to change up the habits to see if anything changes. Different relaxation techniques. Um, Maybe writing down, like I said, your thoughts or worries so that it's out of your head and kind of put on paper. And trying to kind of explore, what is this? What is going on with me? Otherwise, you might notice something particular like anxiety, worry can be a bully. And you just blanket statement, you kind of like, I can't sleep, I'm worried, I'm dreading work. That's the end of the conversation. That shouldn't be the end of the conversation, because there's something you can actually do about it so that you can live a more, hopefully, less stressful life in general. I hope this was helpful. And if it wasn't, I'm terribly sorry. But please do use some of these tools if you feel like you would like to. And I really appreciate you watching my videos. And I look forward to seeing you next session. Bye, guys.